You cheated with him. Now drown in what's left.
Growing up with distant, work-obsessed parents, books became my refuge from crushing loneliness. Everything changed when I met Anne-Marie Santos in middle school. She was sunshine breaking through storm clouds, outgoing where I was reserved, athletic while I buried myself in academics. Despite our differences, we had an incredible connection through high school, college, and marriage. I believe she was my soulmate. When I asked her father, Miguel, for her hand, he questioned everything. Miguel Santos was tough, loyal, raised 8 kids in a rough neighborhood. I had to prove my love was real. I chose to love Anne-Marie through good and bad times. Unfortunately, the worst came just 3 years later. Anne-Marie became distant, coming home late, no longer lighting up when she saw me. The realization that your wife no longer loves you is devastating, like drowning in slow motion. One evening, I couldn't pretend anymore. Annie, I love you and always will. I don't want to argue. I just want us to decide together what's best. I know you're not happy with me, she whispered through tears. Yes, Gavin. I know. I want a divorce. Miguel deserved an explanation. Sitting on his porch over beers, Sir, I've loved no one but your daughter since I met her. I promised to put her first, and that's what I'm doing now, even though I'm leaving Anne-Marie. He exploded, mixing English and Spanish, demanding explanations I couldn't give. Eventually, he calmed down enough to let me leave. Anne-Marie didn't fight the divorce. We split assets. She kept the new car, I kept my old truck. Everything settled except the 90-day waiting period. I lied about staying local. My truck was packed. I left my wedding ring on the kitchen table with a note. Goodbye. I will always love you. Be happy. Here's the truth. While cleaning our bathroom, a chore I hated, I found a positive pregnancy test in the trash. I checked her birth control pills. Untouched. Another man had gotten my wife pregnant. I called her office. She'd left early. Her car was still there, so I waited. 20 minutes later, her boss, Michael James, pulled up. They kissed passionately. My wife's smile, once mine, was now his. That night, she barely looked at me. I realized it was a 20-hour drive to Las Vegas. I made it in 4 days through Nebraska, Colorado, Utah. Soon, I was a first-year law student starting completely over. Law school was lonely. No dates, no close friends. I buried myself in studies, earning my JD and MBA with a 4.0 GPA. Once monthly, I'd write to the Santos family about my studies, never revealing my location. 13 weeks into my first semester, I received a manila envelope that would forever represent the exact monetary value of my completely shattered heart. $7,642.33 after realtor fees and closing costs. This was my half of the house where Anne-Marie and I had planned to raise our children together, grow old together, build our entire future together. It was probably the third most depressing day of my entire existence. I kept wondering obsessively about Anne-Marie's pregnancy. Since Michael James was African American, their child wouldn't bear any resemblance to me, making the truth impossible to hide from her family indefinitely. In a moment of petty vindictiveness that I'm not particularly proud of, I sent elaborate congratulatory flower arrangements and expensive gift baskets to both the James family home and Anne-Marie's office, addressed specifically to the company. President with cards signed, a well-wisher. This would be my only act of deliberate revenge. I promised myself that much and no more. Years passed in a blur of academic achievement and gradual emotional healing. After graduating with highest honors, I joined a prestigious small law firm specializing in complex commercial real estate transactions. This is where I met David Rothschild, the senior partner who would completely transform my life. He was a legend in real estate law, known for negotiating seemingly impossible multi-million-dollar deals. Rothschild systematically transformed me from a socially awkward, emotionally damaged young lawyer into a confident, successful businessman. Under his patient guidance, I learned investment strategies, began acquiring real estate properties, and developed interpersonal skills I'd never possessed. He became the father figure I'd never had. After 5 successful years of professional growth, Rothschild made a suggestion that would reconnect me with my past in an unexpected way. He pointed out that Miguel and Maria Santos were approaching their 50th wedding anniversary, a milestone that deserved proper recognition and celebration. I realized he was absolutely right. They had been like real parents to me when my own biological parents had completely failed in that role. I arranged an elaborate week-long celebration package. First-class airfare to Las Vegas, a luxury hotel suite with stunning views, professional limo service, reservations at the city's finest restaurants, and VIP tickets to the best entertainment. Shows available. I sent everything with a simple but heartfelt note. Happy 50th anniversary. Use these however you wish. All my love, Gavin. The Santos not only accepted my gift, but insisted I join them for every single activity throughout their entire stay. Rothschild, who rarely involved himself in personal matters, somehow arranged VIP treatment for us everywhere we went. He introduced Miguel and Maria to everyone as my partner's parents, and I watched them beam with unmistakable pride as business associates praised my professional accomplishments and character. Inspired, I developed a real estate project back home. In 6 weeks, I bought 19 properties near the Santos home, secured zoning changes, arranged sale to hotel developers. The Santos would net enough to retire comfortably in a new condo I'd prepared. When I explained the deal, Miguel was amazed. It's a miracle. Maria cried happily. While shopping for supplies at the new upscale mall during my business trip, fate intervened in the most unexpected way. I encountered Anne-Marie working behind a retail counter, looking noticeably older, but still recognizably the woman I'd once planned to spend my entire life with. She carried a few extra pounds and had lost some of that radiant glow I remembered, but she was still undeniably attractive in a more mature way. Our initial conversation was awkward but civil. She seemed genuinely surprised to see me and asked if we could meet privately to talk about our past. Against every instinct screaming at me to walk away, I agreed to meet her at our old favorite bar, the same place where we'd celebrated our engagement years earlier. When she arrived for our meeting, Anne-Marie had clearly made an effort with her appearance. She wore a flattering little black dress that accentuated her figure, stylish heels, and carefully applied makeup that made her look genuinely attractive. If she'd been a complete stranger, I probably would have offered to buy her a drink and tried to get her number. The conversation that followed was both painful and illuminating. Anne-Marie tried to rewrite our history, claiming she'd never stopped loving me, and that my leaving had been unexpected and devastating to her. I wasn't buying any of her revisionist narrative. "Let me ask you some direct questions," I said, leaning forward intensely. "Was it you or Michael James who made the decision that I should be completely deprived of physical closeness with my supposedly loving wife?" She looked directly at me, shame flickering across her face, but answered honestly, "It was his idea." "So, your endless, deep love for me allowed you to sleep with another man and follow his explicit instructions, knowing full well it would emotionally destroy me?" "Gavin, she started, but I cut her off immediately. "How long did you wait before deliberately stopping your birth control pills?" I demanded. "What? Well, she stammered helplessly, unable to form a coherent response. "You didn't accidentally get pregnant, Anne-Marie. You actively wanted him to father your child. When exactly were you planning to tell me the truth about the baby's paternity? Or were you actually going to try convincing me it was mine?" She couldn't even attempt to answer that devastating question. "Why aren't you with Michael James now? Where is your great love?" I asked, shifting to her current situation. "He didn't want me long-term," she confessed, her voice barely audible. "His wife discovered our affair and told his supervisor at work. She divorced him immediately, and he was forced to resign from his position to avoid further scandal. After that, he completely abandoned me. I had to quit my job too because the situation became too humiliating and uncomfortable to bear. And somehow I'm supposed to feel sympathy for the natural consequences of your choices?" "I don't know what you want me to say, Gavin," she replied, her voice finally breaking with genuine emotion. "I made a terrible, life-destroying mistake. I got involved in something horrible and couldn't find the strength to stop it once it started. I know I was completely wrong about everything. Can't you find it in your heart to forgive me? I genuinely love you. I died emotionally the day you left town, and I've missed you every single day since then. I desperately wanted you to come back so I could apologize properly and promise I'd never do anything like that again. I'm completely alone now, Gavin. My parents barely speak to me, my siblings actively avoid family gatherings when I'm there, and I have no real friends left in my life. I'm utterly, completely alone." "I understand loneliness, Anne-Marie, because I'm alone too," I responded with brutal honesty. "I forgave you years ago for my own mental health and peace of mind, but there's absolutely no possibility of going back to what we had. It's never going to happen, and you need to accept that reality." "But why not, Gavin? I know you loved me deeply. You promised you always would." 2 reasons, I said, holding up fingers. First, I'm not the same naive person who married you. I've changed fundamentally, and you don't know who I am anymore. I certainly don't know who you really are, if I ever did. Second, here's the question that proves you're still lying to me. You wanted someone else, and I let you have him without saying a harsh word because I truly loved you. Since I left town, I haven't been physically intimate with another woman. So tell me honestly, how many different men have you been with while you were supposedly pining away for me? Anne-Marie couldn't even look me in the eye. Her silence told me everything I needed to know. How could I ever trust you again? Give me one reason to let you back into my life that wouldn't just benefit you. Anne-Marie couldn't even look me in the eye. Her silence confirmed everything I suspected about her supposed love and regret. You see, Anne-Marie, I knew you were lying. But back then, I didn't realize the woman I loved was fundamentally dishonest. How could I ever trust you again? Why would I even want to? She cried quietly as I stood up to leave. That's what I thought. Goodbye, Anne-Marie. 3 months later, I confronted the Santos family about ostracizing Anne-Marie. During a family gathering, I told them, she didn't cheat on any of you. Stop being a holes and bring your daughter back where she belongs. I won't contact you until this nonsense is over. I walked away from my foster family, unsure if I'd ever see them again. During a mandatory work break months later, I finally called Amy, a woman I'd helped at the airport. She and her cousin Lydia came for dinner at my penthouse apartment. We started hanging out regularly. They'd visit for dinners, movies, or just conversation. They even used my building's gym regularly. After months of friendship, Amy asked why I'd never made a romantic move. I explained I didn't want to ruin our friendship and honestly wasn't sure how, having been with Anne-Marie since childhood. Amy then revealed something that stunned me completely. They were looking for someone special, not 2 separate people, but one person they could both love. They wanted to share children and raise them together as co-mothers, since Lydia couldn't have biological children due to complications from a previous pregnancy that had gone terribly wrong. The arrangement sounded unconventional, but genuinely appealing. After careful consideration, I asked Amy on a proper romantic date while texting Lydia a more direct message. Be at my place at 6:15, don't be late. You'll be staying the night. Her reply came quickly. Perfect. My first real date with Amy was absolutely magical. I picked her up at 7, stunned by how beautiful she looked in her little black dress. We shared wine and sushi at an intimate restaurant, went dancing at an upscale nightclub, and talked for hours about our dreams, hopes, and what we wanted from life. By evening's end, we bonded on a level I hadn't experienced since my teenage years. Walking through a moonlit park holding hands, I couldn't shake my insecurities. Why me, Amy? I'm over 10 years older than you, divorced with serious emotional baggage, and every man in that club was staring at you tonight. You could literally have anyone you wanted. You'll understand soon enough, she smiled mysteriously. But tonight, just accept that you're the one we've been waiting for. There's absolutely no one else for me or Lydia. On Easter Sunday, Anne-Marie found me at our old church. She spoke softly. Forgive me, Gavin, for I have sinned. I forgave you long ago, I replied. But you forgave me when I didn't deserve it, when I wasn't sorry. Now I understand the pain I caused. I wish I could take it back. Thank you for giving me my family back. Dad said it was your intervention. Eventually, I proposed to Amy, while giving Lydia a special ankle bracelet with our 3 birthstones, showing she was part of our family. I'm home, Gavin. I'm not going anywhere, Lydia said. We married 3 months later in a small, intimate ceremony with Lydia standing beside Amy as maid of honor and Rothschild serving as my best man. 6 months after our wedding, our first child was born, Aiden James O'Connor. Twins followed, Sophia Marie and Stephen Michael. Finally came baby Olivia Rose. The boys looked exactly like me with dark hair and serious expressions. Sophia was a tiny version of Amy with blonde curls and bright eyes. Olivia was unmistakably Lydia's clone. Same features, same gentle temperament, their bonds were instant and unbreakable. Amy and I lived as husband and wife, but Lydia was always close, always part of our daily lives and major decisions. Our unconventional family became as perfect as any relationship could be. We've never shared details publicly, and only closest friends know the truth about our arrangement. My revenge wasn't dramatic confrontation. It was building a successful life while my cheating ex-wife faced consequences alone. The congratulatory flowers I sent exposed their affair to Michael's wife and employer, destroying his marriage and career. Anne-Marie lost her job from embarrassment, ended up alone while I built an empire and found love with 2 women who chose me completely. Sometimes the best revenge is living well. While Anne-Marie begged for second chances, I was building a family with people who truly valued me. She got pregnant by a man who abandoned her when consequences hit. I got children with women who made me their world. I went from a broken 25-year-old to a successful lawyer and businessman with an unconventional but perfect family. Anne-Marie works retail, alone with her poor choices. My nuclear revenge was succeeding spectacularly while she failed miserably. She destroyed our marriage for a man who used and discarded her. I found two women who compete to love me more. Justice served cold, exactly as promised.